share my screen here in just a moment. If it will. All righty. Welcome everyone to the call. We have an amazing guest speaker today, Allan Tamez. He's a managing partner of a property management company here in the Dallas area. I'll be introducing him in just a moment. But first, a couple items. This meeting is not legal or financial advice. We are not promoting any specific deal on this. It's simply education. And my partners, Nikki and Dr. Sanjeev Mall, are part of the Eagle City Multifamily group, and also Asif Kumar. He's out of the country right now, but he'll be back shortly. And our topic tonight is navigating due diligence in apartment investing. And Dr. Allan will be talking to us about that in just a moment. And our speaker for next week is George Roberts. So stay tuned for next week. And also another announcement I posted in the chat. We are hosting a live in-person meeting in Rockwall, Texas on July 17. It's on a Monday evening at 7 o'clock. And so join us there for drinks and dinner and some awesome content as well. Eagle City Multifamily is invested in apartments in Texas and the Carolinas. And your host here on the call, myself, Asif Kumar, Dr. Sanjeev, and Nikki Mall. And we'll get right into it. I'll introduce our amazing guest speaker today. Allan Tamez is a senior vice president of operations at Compass Multifamily. In 2007, Allan left his home country and a prestigious job to ensure his family was safe from the violence engulfing Mexico. Soon after he arrived, he began working in the multifamily management business, wherein he successfully transformed the operations of an owner's 1,200-unit multifamily. He brought the portfolio from the brink of foreclosure to a successful, profitable disposition. In 2014, Allan began his journey with Wayner Multifamily. At the time, the company had 4,000 units under management. His focus was on implementation of new systems and procedures while creating an extremely efficient team of operations. Allan helped the company grow from 25,000 units under management in 5 years. He oversaw and managed the expansion of the team from 100 employees to over 1,000 employees. At Compass Multifamily, Allan is responsible for leading the operations team of directors. Allan holds a bachelor's degree in accounting and finance from the Universidad del Norte. Welcome, Allan. So glad to have you on the call this evening.
Thank you, Herb. I really appreciate the introduction. Thank you for the time. Thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. We're going to talk about some very important and key aspects of the transition of multifamily, how you can have some advantage navigating to this process, the due diligence process that is key for the success of your investment, how to look the assets, what are the things that you need to be more careful, the ones that you need to highlight, who you need to partner with, how you partner, and how you choose the people that you're going to partner in the operational side. So we're going to start with due diligence, the name, what due diligence means. Well, due diligence basically on the operation side is basically you're going to look the asset, what is it that is important to look into the asset when you're getting on a deal, underwriting a deal. After that, what is next, and what are the important KPIs? What are the important keys that you have to follow to be successful through the due diligence process? So I'm going to start from when you look at a deal. First of all, you need to underwrite your deal. To underwrite your deal basically means that you're going to put together the financial aspect of the multifamily deal that you're looking into. Based on that underwriting, you will follow with the decision of, this is worth it for me to pursue. This is something that I want to do based on your underwriting. How you do the underwriting is different ways. And for that, that's when you get with these type of mastermind teams that they will walk you on that, how to do the underwriting. Once you finish your underwriting, that it's something that is attractive to you and your investors, that's when the due diligence starts. That's when you have to engage with the management company. How you can engage with the management company and when is very important for the success of your business plan. Once you identify a deal that you like and you know that you're going to pursue that deal, you need to have already your management company ready. Because the management company is going to be key once you close that deal. And it's very important that you start looking into that even before you find a deal, to have it ready. And the reason why is because once you get into the underwriting of the deal, you're going to get really busy, and it's going to be a lot of pieces moving that you may leave into the end, to the last minute, to engage a management company. And then you're going to do it in a hurry. You need to take your time to engage with a management company. You need to do your homework to find the right partner, the right manager that is going to help you through this process. It's somebody that you need to feel comfortable doing business with, and that partner that you should see it as a partner, and they should see you as a partner also. They need to be in line with your business plan, with the way that you do things, the way that you see your asset going. You need to talk to them and explain them what you want to do, and they need to explain you what are the things that they're going to do to make your business plan successful, to make your asset and investment successful. Once you pick your management company, also to pick your management company, of course, you need to do your homework, ask for referrals, ask for their history, what they have done, where they have worked, what areas are they familiar with, because this is very important at the time that you're picking your deal. For instance, right now in DFW, I've been here in DFW for 16 years. And if somebody called me right now at any moment and asked me for any property in DFW, for any area in DFW, I'm very familiar. And I can tell you what are the challenges of that area, what are going to be the challenges of the actual asset, what are the perfect demographics on the staffing that you need to put on those areas on that asset. That's very important. So I'm very familiar with the DFW area, San Antonio. We're very familiar with Houston, Austin, and Oklahoma. We do Oklahoma City and the metro area.
Allan, if I could just say that to everyone, that Allan and his company have provided pro formas for us when we're looking for a property, as he mentioned. They will provide a pro forma for a prospective property that you're looking at purchasing. And that is very helpful because they're telling us how much rent they can get, how much expenses, how much net operating income and all that. So I just want to throw that in there. Keep going, Allan. You're doing great.
Yes. So that's part of where I'm going on the due diligence. So once you pick your management company, and then you feel comfortable talking to them when you're looking at a deal, what Herb is talking is very important. He calls we call it the operating forecast. Is that has to be separate from your underwriting. I recommend and I ask my clients, our clients, that don't give me your numbers, don't give me your underwriting, don't give me your assumptions. I'm gonna do my own. The only thing that we're gonna ask you, the things that you need to provide your management company, is gonna be a T12, rent roll, delinquency report, and the asking price. Those are the only things that we need to do an operating forecast. And from there, that's the next step of the due diligence. Once you're ready to submit an LOI, that's when you see that your deal is worth it, that the numbers make sense to you, that's when you get the management to do an operating forecast. They're gonna usually an operating forecast. It takes us between 3 to 5 days, depending on the area, depending on the size, depending on the information that we get. Once we get the operating forecast, one essential piece and a key piece of that operating forecast is going to be the market survey. Very important how your management does the market survey. We don't use any software. We don't use any EI. We do the market surveys as we were renting apartments ourselves. Like if we're looking to rent in that specific area, that's how we do the market surveys. And that's very important because you get firsthand what is going on in the market, what is going on in the area, what the people are doing, what upgrades are they bringing, what amenities, how the people interaction in the offices, the leasing offices are going on. All those are very essential points that you have to have when you do your operating forecast, because that's where that was going to bring you how much revenue you can bring, what are the expenses that you're going to have, and that's how we do our operating forecast. Usually we do the operating forecast when you are ready to get an LOI, and what we do a 3-year operating forecast. And what that operating forecast is going to tell you, this is a preliminary forecast. This is when you're going to be ready to do an LOI. The preliminary forecast is going to bring all the revenue. What is the revenue going to look like the first 3 years, and the expenses, and how we get that based on their T12, the historicals. But it's very important that also you understand what are the industry standards, because sometimes those expenses can be changed, they can be moved under the line, and they can try to, make the deal look way better than what probably is.
Yeah.
So those things, you just get it with experience. Also, you have to be careful when they give you a T12 on accrual basis, and how old also that T12 is. When we receive some T12s on accrual basis, we double check, triple check based on plain rent roll. What is the actual charges? How much you can collect, even if you collect 100%, and we compare kind of with the T12, and then we see if it's kind of very in line, we don't have a problem. If there's a big difference, we have red flags. So all those little things we include on the operating forecast.
Oh, Allan, whenever it's convenient, we have a question here with Edward.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Edward. I did not see that. I'm sorry.
Edward, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Unmute yourself.
Of course, yeah, of course I'm on mute. All right, sorry about that. So real fast, market surveys just essentially comps, right?
Exactly, yes. I'm
Okay.
sorry. If I say any terms that somebody's not familiar with, please ask. LOI is a letter of intent, is when you're gonna put an offer on the deal. And yes, market surveys, basically, you go, like, just think about you renting an apartment where you close to your job. You go to the subject property and you ask, like, you want to rent a few units there because you're moving with your family, and you need that way you get the whole information and they give you the whole tour, right? And then you go around. the
Mhm.
comps there are, but that's very important that they're really comps, because sometimes also the people that are selling, and there's nothing wrong with it,
Mhm.
that's their job, sell, they compare your property, let's say a C-class building with a B plus,
Mhm.
and then they tell you, look, these guys are $500 above this rent. You can go there. And we go and check, and we just talk to our clients and say, look, wait a second, that's not comparable, right?
Mhm.
You have to compare apples with apples. This is way different. This is in another league. You will never compare with that property. So we need to be a little aggressive, but we need to be realistic and careful, right? We always want to do that way. And once we finish the operating forecast, we send it to our clients, and then you'll review it, compare with your underwriting, and of course, you're going to have a bunch of questions.
Mhm.
Once you get all that, we schedule a meeting and we go through every single line item, every single thing on. We're basically doing a T12 in the future, right? We're doing 12 months from the month of takeover, 12 months, and then another 2 years. The most important, of course, is the first 12 months, right? Those are criticals for the business plan. Okay.
And then the other question I had, you said below the line. So that below the line is anything that's not capital expenditure?
I'm sorry, yes. So operation expenses affect the net operating income, right? The NOI. So that's the value, that's where the value of the asset is calculated. They calculate the value of your asset based on your NOI. Because everything below we call it, the people call it below the line because it's below that NOI, the net operating income. That basically the net operating income is your revenue,
Mhm.
your total income minus your operational expenses. What is not operational expenses? Everything that is going to last for years, like HVAC, big plumbing main lines that you replace, a boiler, redo the whole parking lot, roofs, foundation, all those things are CapEx. Rehab, interior rehabs, if you do a full rehab, that is considered CapEx. So all that goes below the line. There are some people that may play with those numbers. So you need to be really careful. And we know that with the experience of managing thousands of units over more than 15, 16 plus years, we know what it needs for every size of building. What do you need to expand to manage to operate that building on everything? The ones that you can control and are very important, and the most expensive, of course, is payroll and utilities, right? Those are the two major ones. And besides, of course, insurance, taxes, and everything else, right? But the operational expenses that you can control and are the biggest ones are those payroll and utilities. Everything else is very, very predictable, including those. So we know what it takes to manage these buildings. That's why it's very important when you engage a management company that you make sure that they know, and the experience that they have, that they know how to manage these buildings. Okay. So that's with the operating forecast. That's the first step. We barely start. We give you the operating forecast, and now my operating forecast is in line with your numbers, and you like the deal and you want to move forward. You submit an offer for the deal. You get awarded the deal. Now they give you the chance to do the actual physical due diligence in the asset, right? Even also some sellers every deal is going to be different, but it's very, very general. Most of the deals go this way. You ask to do a tour of the property, right? Even before do the physical and actual due diligence at the property. So what you want to do on the tour is get a feeling of the property. See how is the neighborhood. What are the things that you notice that may be a red flag? And that also you do it with your management company. You walk with them, tour the property, they're gonna explain you, they're gonna show you amenities, a unit ready, a vacant unit, and you start talking with the staff if they allow, right? After that, you set up and schedule the actual due diligence on site. What is gonna happen on this due diligence? The way that we do it, the day that we schedule the due diligence, we need 1 day to set up templates. We have a software that we use for interior upgrades. So what this software does, it's an iPad that it has the software, and our people goes into each single unit. We're gonna go to each single unit to know what needs to be done on the interiors based on your business plan, right? So we set up that one on the day of the due diligence. We set up the templates of each floor plan to be ready to walk every single unit. Then the next day, we go with a team based on the size of the property, is how many people we need. We go with a team and they're gonna walk every single unit. And what they're gonna do, they're gonna step in the front door, and with it's already preloaded in our system, and it's gonna have the apartment number. So what the person does is they do a physical inspection. So they check the door, frame, good. And we value these items from 1 to 5. If it's brand new, and if it has it needs minor repairs, it needs a bigger repair, or it needs to be replaced, or is missing, right? So we click on, and all those are attached to cost. Every little thing, we already have the cost. So if the door needs to be replaced, the front door, they click on needs to be replaced. And then they walk from to the right to every single bedroom, living room, bathroom, the whole apartment. So what they do, they go and check every little thing: walls, paint, sockets, fixtures, floor, ceiling fans, countertops, cabinets, appliances, everything. We score all that, and all that is attached in our software to cost. Once they finish, all that is going to generate a report, what is going to give you all the information that we upload is going to tell you by unit exactly how much you need to expend on each unit. If a unit was already redone because the prior owner already did some upgrades, well, you're not going to spend by the regular make ready, that is going to be probably $400. If the unit hasn't been touched in 15 years, probably you're going to spend $10,000 in that unit. But that will tell you by unit, and you can sort that information however you please. It can be by floor plan, by unit type, by building in general, by item, how many fridges you're going to need, how many floors you need to replace, how many ceiling fans. By item, again, you can sort that. And at the end, all is going to be one number: 500K, 600K, 1.5 million, whatever the number is. And that will help you, of course, to implement your business plan, to know how much resources you're going to need. At the same time that that's happening, another team is going to be in the office. What that team is going to be doing is called the lease audit. So what we do on the lease audit, we review all the leases to understand the value of the leases. What I mean by value of the leases is what type of person lives there, how long they've been living there, where they work, if they pay on time, if they're under housing, if they're students, if it's a military person, anything that is on the list, we check that the actual lease match whatever they have on their system and the rent roll. That's very important. Sometimes in their system, they said that the rent of for apartment one is $1,000, and then you go and check the lease, and the lease only says 800. So you have to go what the lease says. That's what it's gonna rule based on your leases. So you can find discrepancies. Yes.
Allan, I want to hear more about the lease audit, but could we go ahead and take Tristan's question?
Yes.
He's
Sorry.
raising his hand.
Again, I didn't see that. What's
Oh,
up,
no
Tristan?
worries.
I was just curious. So you're talking about taking like inventory, like during the diligence period, of like the rents and the, well, is that different from cost segregation? Like taking inventory of all the CapEx projects? If you're doing cost segregation, is that before the acquisition? And is that the same thing that you were describing just now, or is that different?
No, this is for the acquisition. This is before. This is what you get on the contract. Once your LOI was accepted, you get on the contract, and then they give you the seller. It give you a time frame that usually is between 60 and 90 days to do this due diligence, and that way the goal of this due diligence is to make sure that there's no major ticket items, because that's what I was going. This is just the interior upgrades based on your business plan. That's one cost, right? That's CapEx. All this is about your business plan. The other one is the due diligence, the lease audit, and then you have to inspect every major ticket item, like roofs, how old the roofs are, if they have problems with the roofs, foundation, any mechanicals, big boilers, if they have a chiller system, HVAC, electrical, parking lots, gates, fences, rotten wood, landings, stairways, all those things you need to inspect. Plumbing, main drains, all those you need to bring vendors. For those big ticket items, we always bring our vendors to help us with that. And they will tell you the goal of this is to know that there's no major repair that is going to be a surprise to you once you get the deal. For instance, if it's 20 buildings and 10 of those need foundation work and all of them need roof, well, over there you're going to spend probably $1.5 million just there, right? Don't quote me on the numbers, but it's going to be something crazy. So then you can go back to the seller and you can put these numbers and say, hey, your price is a little off because these and these reasons, right? So that way you ensure that the price that you're paying is right.
Thank you, Allan. That's very helpful.
Yes. That answer your question, Tristan? Or I confuse you more?
Maybe both, but you answered it. Thank you.
Yeah, cost
It's okay.
segregation comes only after you own the apartments, right? If you
Yes.
do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For
It's,
tax.
it's two separate things. That comes after, and it's two separate things. This is to ensure that you're buying. It's like, think about buying a house. You're not just going to go and pay and say, hey, I like it from the front door. I like the front door, and I buy the house.
Yeah, you want to make sure you actually like it and it has everything you need. And it's not
Exactly.
gonna
So
break
if you
down.
moved in the house and there's no AC and you pay for it, you're like, hey, what's going on here, right? So it's basically that, right? To ensure that what you're buying is what you accounted for on your due diligence in your numbers, right?
Allan,
So-
I just wanted to say that this due diligence that you provide, the operating forecast, is a great risk mitigation tool for
That's exactly right.
owners.
Yes.
Right.
That's the word. It's exactly right. You nail it. There's a risk mitigation, because on this process also, you see a lot of aspects of compliance. You have to make sure that the property is under compliance with the city, the state, any rules and regulations that they have to follow. You check also on the leases if there's not a bunch of criminals with background and felonies and knock on wood, like sex offenders or things like that. There are huge liability when you get an asset. It can be a huge liability. All those things we investigate in a detail, and we let our clients know what's going on. We actually run crime reports in the area and at the property also. All these things are very important to make sure what Herb said is that risk mitigation. That way is the minimum risk to you and your investors, and your money is going to be secure.
Oh, absolutely. And I trust a management company like Allan because they're managing so many of the properties around the Dallas area, at least, and some other areas as well. But Dallas, they know the apartments. They probably managed some of these other
Across the street,
apartments,
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
that are nearby, right, for comps,
Yes.
right? And they know who's there, what type of clients and all. So
Yes, and it's very important during this process that you engage again with, for instance, we go to the city, we ask for open record request, and they will tell you everything that is on the property. If they have any violations, if they have any pending litigations with the city, that's very important because that can be a big headache. 90% of the time when a property change hands, the city is gonna come and chase you and ask you to do everything that hasn't been done in the past 20 years. They're gonna ask you to do it in 6 months. So you need to be careful. If they have a lot of deferred maintenance, problems with the city, they have a lot of city violations, you need to make sure that you go and do your homework on the city and make sure that they don't have a big case against the property. It has happened before. We were able to fix it, but it's a big headache and a lot of money, a lot of time and money, and you don't want that. So you need to be prepared. We need to do the homework, and we need to inform you and help you through this process, in this very important process of the acquisition of a multifamily building.
any other questions on the call? Nancy, Sally, Albert, Edwards, Tristan, any other questions that you want Allan to talk about before he's gone? We'll be on a few more minutes. Just anything about the market or the Dallas area or anything around apartment. Go ahead.
You've done a lot of deals in Dallas, and so have you done A, B, and C class properties, or do you
We've
just?
done all, but our main focus is B and Cs, mainly C.
And with the C class, this is I'm curious if you know anything about, like, is there such thing as like a design, a historic district apartment building where there's like regulations with the city on how much you can work on it?
Yes, you have to be really careful with those. It's a different, if it's a historical, usually it's not, probably it's not going to be a C, because all these historicals are going to turn into nicer communities. Like probably you're familiar with the design district, South Side Lamar, all those big developments like Bishop Arts. It was like really bad neighborhoods that they came and convert everything and turn it around. A few buildings, I don't think in DFW is many historicals that you can't touch or move or change, but there's still a few. Like I think it was one in downtown that just changed hands, that they have some restrictions, but basically it's the structural aspect of that and the outside. Usually everything on the inside you can replace and make it look nicer. Like exactly what they did in South Side and Lamar. Like for instance, the Nilo was called, and they changed the name. I don't know if you're familiar with that building. The Nilo. It was the Nilo Hotel, and it was condominiums also.
I'm not sure.
Okay, it's something similar to that, but yeah, there's no many, but yes, we're familiar with that.
All right, thank you, Allan.
You're welcome.
Tristan, any more questions?
I do have
Allan is
one.
our man.
So if you have an A class property and it's like downtown, or like okay, so you would classify an A type A-class property based off of the location and like the quality and like the year it was built, right? So if you have a property downtown, like say like just a multifamily property, and maybe it starts off as an A-class, would it go down to like a B-class and then maybe even a C-class over time because it may be maintenance and like just the aging of it? And then would that make the value of it go down because it's
Yes, of course.
it's
Yeah.
down?
Yes, actually, we were just looking at high rise in commerce, and
Mhm.
you cannot imagine how it was in the inside, like really run down. I was surprised find a building in downtown in that condition. But yes, that building I will consider B- building, and it's in downtown. So being in downtown don't give you the A class all the time. Yes, that's correct.
That's something
And
I
it
can
goes
do.
down, and also there's brand new constructions that are made as tax credit. You're not gonna consider those A class because they're gonna be on a C class area or C- class area. You don't want that. You want the opposite. You want the C on the B plus area. You want the B on the A plus area. That's what you look for, not the opposite. The opposite is never good.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, no problem. So after the due diligence in the lease audit, it comes another revision to the operating forecast that we were discussing, because now you have more information. Now you have more detailed information about the value of the leases. Now you have more information about the physical aspect and condition of the buildings and the interiors. Now you add your CapEx project. Now you add your business plan, including your CapEx. That way you know where, because one thing is NOI and then cash flow. So you can be making the NOI, doing good on the NOI, but then you may be negative on your cash flow, and now you're gonna be in problems. So you need to make sure that you account for those capital improvements, and then you have it on your deal, on your underwriting.
All right. Thank you, Al.
Somebody has another question? It was a question then, Albert?
Not a question, but not sure if you can answer. I really like the operating forecasting stuff, but I'm specifically looking in the around Florida, in particular Tampa, Orlando area where I'm located. But if I find one, wonder if there any company like similar to yours, like can do this kind of things.
They have to, yes. I mean, this is not. We're not inventing anything. I mean, we have a few things that we do different because of our experience and how things have worked with us, but these are very general on the business. It's very common to find. Again, what I would recommend you, wherever city you are, look for the local management company and look for a few management companies, interview them, ask them to give you a baseline of how they do their operating forecast. Ask for a sample of their operating forecast, and you go from there. It's something that has to be simple, that you can read, that is not too complicated, that you understand, and something that you can actually use to value your deal and help. It will help you to make a decision on buying or not buying a deal.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
some charge for it and some do it for no cost for clients, right? So
Yes, for existing clients, usually, not usually, for existing clients, we don't charge. That's why it's very important when you engage and when you start asking for operating forecast. Don't ask if you engage a management company and you like them and you want to partner with them, don't start asking them for 50 operating forecasts every week. Because if you close in one, they will probably don't want to work with you in the future. So again, you have to be just conscious of everybody's time, and it's something that you feel comfortable, that you think that you will make an offer that is a solid deal for you, that it makes sense, the numbers make sense. Once that happens, Now is when you engage the management company, and that's when you start asking for this information. But before asking for that information, once you have your management company, one thing that you can do when you're looking at a deal is pick up the phone like my clients do with me. And they ask me, Allan, what do you think? I'm looking at Riverwalk in downtown or uptown or south or north or any area. And they ask me, are you familiar with this area? Yes. What are the pros and cons? Are you familiar with the property? No, but I know a property that is a mile from there, and these are the pros and cons of the area and those properties. So it can give you some guidance, preliminary guidance, and then you'll decide, yeah, it's something that I want to do. Like for instance, a client just called me this morning about a property in Pleasant Grove. And I'm very familiar with the property because I manage a property right in front of that one. And I explained them what was going on with the area, with the property, and he decided not to keep going with the deal, right? In other instance, another client called me on Friday, and they were kind of skeptical in some area that's South Dallas. And I told him, no, I know the area, and these are the pros and cons, and he decided to go forward with the deal based on what we discussed. Now from there, one thing is what I feel and what I know about the area. Another different thing is going to be the price. That's a total different the aspect of the deal, right? Everybody says you make your money when you buy, right? Not when you sell. So you need to buy right.
Yeah, thank you, Allan. That is valuable information. It's so important to do this before you purchase a property, to get valuable information from actual operators like Allan. So
yes.
Any other questions? We're about to bring up our spinning wheel to choose one lucky winner for a $10 Starbucks card to one of the attendees that are live on the call today. And watch it go. Wheel of names. Google, look at that. See who it stops at. Sally.
Woo!
We have a winner. Sally, post your email in the chat to make sure I have it so we don't accidentally miss you. Go ahead and post your email address, and I will, this Starbucks card will be emailed to you within the hour, and you simply open up the email at Starbucks and scan it and buy your drink. That's how simple it is.
Perfect. One other thing that I just want to point out is very important through the due diligence process. Once you finish all this, once you finish your due diligence, your physical inspection, your lease audit, your survey, you do the revision to the operating forecast, and you move forward, that's when you start looking for the staff. Make sure that your management company is ready with the staff. Very important. It's probably the most important part of your deal once they give you the keys. Anything else you can fix. You can fix the software, you can fix the accounting, you can fix anything that is on paper, on the takeover. One thing that you cannot fix is if they put the wrong staff on your property. Very important. I will say that's 80% of the success of your business plan is the staff on site. We take pride on getting the best for the specific property. It's very important that you do your homework, how people are getting the staff, where are they getting their staff, how they take over or onboard the staff and the property. Very important and key to the success of the building. From day one, they need to have the staff on site. The way we do it is with a big network that we have through the years of managing hundreds of buildings, thousands of units, and having more than 1,200 employees working with us. We take pride on saying that we work for the on-site team. They don't work for us. We work for them. we are just here to support them, and you should do the same as an owner, because that's the person in the office that is going to be in the front of your multi-million-dollar deal. Very important. I cannot stop saying it, how important this is. Staffing is critical for the success of your business.
That's important. Thank you, Allan. Thank you very much. Any other questions before we wrap it up? Don't forget about our live in-person meeting. We're doing an event similar to this with several property management and CapEx people here in the Rockwall is where the meeting will be held, in Rockwall, Texas, right near Dallas. So join us for drinks and dinner the 17th. It's a Monday night at 7 o'clock. I posted the link over here in the chat, so you're welcome to get yourself a free ticket there and join us. So if there's no other questions, we'll wrap it up. Go ahead. Anyone?
Okay. I have one more question. So I talked about like historic districts in Dallas, as like a niche for someone to like, maybe they want to specialize in that, but do you have any ideas like, other than that, you think would be good for Dallas, like niches that someone could really like focus on and become like the experts of in like the Dallas market?
I will not, if it was me, like you going into these deals, I will not try to do one niche only. What I will do is try to look for what is the amount that you want to do and what is your goal with that investment. Because sometimes a property in South Dallas, a C- class building, can give you way more than an A class. Everything is about what you want to do and how fast, what is the term that you want to hold into these buildings. If you go into A class, you're not going to see any money in the next 10 years probably on your money back, right? You may
Tristan,
have some.
could I ask you a question? Tristan, are you talking about the apartment ownership, or are you talking about a service for apartments owners? As far as the niche.
I guess I was talking more about like property ownership.
Okay, great.
To buy an asset.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
But I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like for services as well, I guess, I think it could go hand in hand. If you have a construction company and you're focusing on, I don't know, I guess just ownership.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, on both is going to be it's going to be similar, Tristan. But again, I will advise you, if it was me, I will look on any deal. I will look on I have clients that they have all the way from C- to brand new construction. It's based of your investors. Some investors don't feel comfortable going to C-class buildings. They don't want it. They just want the cash flow, and they want to hold, they want to go and buy brand new and hold them for 20 years. It's again, is based on what do you want to do and your investor group, what do they want to do, how long they want to do it. If it's in 3 years, 5, 7, 10, 15, it's going to be based on that. And so you have to do your homework. Again, that's the reason why you have to do your underwriting and your operating forecast. That will give you a perspective of how much you're going to make, how long it's going to take you to make that. And that's what is going to base your deal. It's based on your goals. I mean, it's going to be different. Again, A class, it takes way longer to get your returns. You got probably cash flow. If the building is already full, if it's not full, it's going to take probably a good year, 18 months to fill it up if it's brand new construction. So that take into consideration on your forecast.
Thank you, Allan. All right. Let's wrap it up for today, and please join us next week, next Monday evening. We have George Roberts presenting next week. And then don't forget the in-person meeting in Rockwall on the 17th of July. So we'll wrap it up here today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Herb. Hey, thank everybody for being here.
Thank you very much.
If you
Thank
have
you.
any more
Really
questions, if
appreciate
you
it.
need any help on the management
Thank you.
side, don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
reach out to me. I can get you in contact with Allan if you need to, or Allan, you're welcome. If anybody wants to, you're welcome to post your contact information for anyone that wants it.
Yeah, I can post it here. Let me post it.
And then just FYI, anyone that wants to save the chat, you can click on the three little dots down in the bottom of the meeting chat, and you can save the chat, and then you'll have the link that he's posting. Or simply click on the link if it's a link. Okay, an email. There you go. So that is some very valuable information. Allan, thank you for taking your time to present to us and for managing all these properties around Dallas.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All righty. Bye.
Thank you, Herb.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
night. Thank you.